I'm Stefanik, Assistant Director of the Iowa Nutrient Research Center. Today we are at an oxbow wetland. This particular oxbow is at Chautauqua Bottoms Greenbelt in Polk County, Iowa. The wetlands at this park are mostly oxbow wetlands that are either preserved or restored oxbows. Now, when I say an oxbow, I'm talking about a wetland that is associated with a river system. Now, oxbows are old stream channel meanders that have gotten cut off from the main river channel. This is either a natural process where the river slowly moves over time and the oxbows get cut off, or it can be a man-made process. Now, oxbows tend to be slow water habitats. They are backwaters along river systems. Because they are slow-flowing habitats, they are considered wetlands. Wetland is an area of land that has either standing water or saturated soils long enough through the growing season to support the development of things like hydric soils, as well as hydrophytic vegetation, vegetation that's adapted to a wet environment. Oxbows provide a variety of ecosystem services. Now, ecosystem services are the direct and indirect benefits that these wetlands provide to humans as well as to nature. Some of these ecosystem services include floodwater retention, wildlife habitat, as well as nutrient reduction. Now, with most oxbows, one of their main features is that they help to store floodwater on the landscape. So under normal stream conditions, many oxbows are cut off from the main channel. They may even go dry during drier parts of the year. Whenever there is a storm event, you're likely to see an increase in the level in the river. When the water in the river increases to a certain point, it will overflow its banks and flood into the oxbow wetland. This floodwater ends up being retained in the oxbow for an extended period of time, where that water is then slowly lost to things like evapotranspiration or infiltration into the soil. Now, our next ecosystem service is wildlife habitat. Oxbow wetlands are somewhat unique for wetlands. Many wetlands don't actually have a lot of fish in them, if any fish at all, whereas oxbows, because of their connection to the river system, will typically have fish in them. Whenever floodwater in the river rises, spills over its banks, and ends up in an oxbow, it's taking whatever's in that water with it into the oxbow. This can be nutrients, sediments, but also organisms that are in the water column, including fish, things like Topeka shiners, minnows, and other small fish. Now, while oxbows are important fish habitat, they also provide habitat for a variety of other types of wildlife. This includes amphibians, reptiles, mammals, and birds. All of these organisms will use oxbows for things like general refuge, for feeding, as well as for breeding and spawning habitat. The third main ecosystem service of oxbow wetlands is their ability to improve water quality. When I mention water quality, I am talking about helping to reduce nutrient load as well as sediment load in the water column. Now, when river water gets into these systems, the slow flowing nature of oxbows allows sediments, particles to settle out of the water column. That's the main way that oxbows help to reduce sediment load, is just through settling out. It's also how they help to reduce phosphorus levels. Phosphorus typically is bound to sediment, soil particles that are suspended in the water column. When these particles settle out, they settle out the phosphorus as well. They're also capable of reducing nitrate levels. Nitrate reduction occurs through a process called denitrification. Denitrification is when microorganisms take up the nitrate that's in the water and use it for an energy source and release nitrogen gas as a byproduct. This nitrogen gas leaves through the water column and ends up in the atmosphere, effectively removing nitrate from the water. Due to their position in the landscape between river system and upland areas, oxbows tend to fill in over time. They fill in with organic matter, so dead vegetation, leaves from trees, as well as soil that comes from upstream, as well as sediment that comes from the river system. As oxbows naturally fill in, they'll start to shift to more of an upland habitat. Now, there's been a push in Iowa to increase the number of oxbows through restoration. This restoration process is relatively simple. It's a matter of digging out or dredging out that fill material down to the point where you reach the original river channel. Oxbows can be restored for their wildlife habitat, as well as their floodwater retention capabilities and nutrient reduction capabilities. In areas where there's agriculture, we have a practice called multi-purpose oxbows. Multi-purpose oxbows are an approved nutrient reduction practice in the Iowa nutrient reduction strategy. The way these multi-purpose oxbows are restored is similar to how you'd restore a natural wetland. You'd go out and you'd dredge up the fill material, but then you'd also route a drainage tile line into the oxbow wetland. So instead of the oxbow only receiving water from the river system, it's also receiving water from the subsurface area underneath row crop acres. With this subsurface drainage water being routed into the oxbow, it's also bringing dissolved nitrate in with it. This dissolved nitrate then interacts with the microorganisms in the soil, where it's converted to nitrogen gas, effectively removing and improving the water quality in the wetland.